everybody. Laurie. I'm
Hi,
Laurie
Laurie.
Brown. I'm going to be your host today, part-time professor for the release of a brand new album called Ain't Got Long. So welcome to everyone who has joined us. If at any time during this time that we're going to have a chat, and you've got some questions of your own, you'll see on the right-hand side of your screen a comment section, and please feel free to type them out there because near the end of today's presentation, you're going to have a chance to ask questions, and we can also pull them from there. So if there's anything that's got you scratching your head, please post it there. I have a sense of why you're here, because either you're a longtime fan of Art of Time like I am, and also very curious about the new album and hungry for more of Art of Time's work, especially during this time when we're not running down to a full season in Toronto of live music. And this is adventuresome music, and it's something that I love in the music that I listen to. And so you're going to have a chance to hear from three of the singers that are going to be on the album, a longtime player that's played with Art of Time, and of course, we're going to be talking with Andrew Burashko, who's the artistic director and the founder of Art of Time. So let's start with you, Andrew. And can you give us a sense of how Ain't Got Long, how this new album came together?
Well, a confluence of things, I guess. I'd been wanting to make this record for years. And last year was our 20th anniversary, which provided some impetus. And also, a longtime fan and subscriber passed away in 2018 and left us some money. And I decided to put it towards this album.
And what was it that you thought about when you were putting the songs together? What was the was there an overriding theme at the beginning?
Not really. I mean, the overriding theme was to get something really interesting out into the world. I mean, as you know, Jonathan has been a very important part of Art of Time right from the beginning.
Jonathan Goldsmith, the
arranger and producer. Mm-hmm. And over the years, he's written or arranged over 30 works for us. So there was a lot to choose from. I think one limiting factor was the availability of the singers. I only wanted to include singers for whom these arrangements were intended. And the rest of it was just, it was an embarrassment of riches. It was just picking out my favorite charts and trying to balance them. I didn't want to have any two arrangements that sounded remotely similar stylistically. Mm-hmm. And yeah, in terms of theme, no, I don't know if any theme was behind it or that emerged beyond what I just said.
Well, for sure that they're all arranged and produced by Jonathan Goldsmith, that's a theme. But when you finally listened, when you finally decided on the track listing for the album and you played it all the way through, how did this album make you feel?
That's a hard one. Well, I mean, I had listened, you mean hearing this particular string or bunch of songs together? I mean, they were all very close to my heart. I don't know, I was struck, even though I was after variety, I wanted as eclectic a set as possible. I never expected it to be quite so eclectic, hearing them one after the other. I was just, I was blown away by how it turned out, by the performances, by how beautifully it was recorded by Jeff Wolpert. I was excited and proud,
If you had to describe to someone the style, the sound of an arrangement by Jonathan Goldsmith, how would you describe it?
Well, that's tough, Jonathan he's such a well-rounded musician. You know, he's an accomplished pop and jazz musician, and he has this profound and insatiable curiosity about classical music and understanding of classical music. But like I said, every one of these sounds like a completely different world, aesthetically, stylistically. I don't know if I had to think of one commonality, perhaps that they're all very rich and adventurous harmonically and rhythmically, and everyone holds a surprise.
Yeah, I think you nailed it when you said they're each their own world, because to me that's exactly what it sounds like. They live in their own atmosphere. They're wonderful that way. Can we now bring in a longtime player for Art of Time, the ensemble member, violinist Stephen Sitarski. Stephen, besides playing for Art of Time, is also the concert master for the Esprit Orchestra and also for the Hamilton Philharmonic Orchestra. And I hear his internet is down and he's on the phone. Is he there? Oh, we can't. We can't. His internet is down. So we're going to move on. Madeleine, are you ready?
Okay.
Let's go. Let me introduce Madeleine Peyroux to you, American singer, songwriter. I think it's 9 albums that you have under your belt, so to speak, at the moment. And you are also no stranger to the world of song interpretation. Madeleine, how would you describe your experience of working with Art of Time?
Okay, well, lucky. I think it's lucky. I'm a few hours south, just in Brooklyn, and being able to come up to Canada and Toronto, only a few hours away, and sort of feel that the difference of the culture, to be totally honest, and get to know a group of people that are always, I mean, Art of Time is always the best musicians gathered together with incredibly high standards, which I've tried to live up to over the years when we've played a few shows together live, which we did before this record. And these arrangements, or the 3 songs that I appear on, are from those experiences.
Let me just list those right now, if I could. You have 3 songs on the album: Robert Johnson's Love in Vain, and Irving Berlin's What'll I Do, and Gershwin's Someone to Watch Over Me. All 3 incredible songs.
Yeah, they're classics. And then I believe that Jonathan Goldsmith's take on them solves the problem for me of being able to cover something that's been done a million times and bring something new to it. I think that my experience singing with the Art of Time was less of a challenge to find a new way to do the song. They did that for me. And more of a challenge to live up to this very complex character that they created, this, self-awareness that I think was asked of me. That's how I felt, especially What'll I Do, which I believe is the most complicated character I've ever recorded or sung,
That's totally how I felt when I listened to the album. I thought, now this is the arrangement that is really out there in very thin air. And I wanted to ask you about your experience of approaching that song, because I felt when I listened to you sing What'll I Do, I am almost grabbing for you like a life preserver to get me through this song, because it really feels there's so much shifting underneath you.
Oh, interesting. That's nice. I hope. I mean, I hope.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds dangerous to me, but it's a song that, because I do know the American songbook, it was actually a very cute melody, or considered one of those people that have heard that song in its original form.
Mm-hmm.
Will recognize it as a sort of Tin Pan Alley 1940s cute song for a woman. Actually, I think my guess is that it was written. I actually didn't do all my research for us today. I'm sorry, but my guess is it's written for a woman who feels weak without her partner, without her man. And what'll I do when you are far away and I am blue? What'll I do? It sounds very, effeminate and weak. And Jonathan Goldsmith and the Art of Time do this really shocking arrangement, in which the only way I could approach my job is to sing the original melody verbatim over, like you said, over this tumultuous storm of harmony, understated evil and all kinds of characters that for me, it was a really exciting thing it's an exciting challenge, but it was definitely a challenge.
It was amazing.
Did I finish my thought? I don't even, because we're thinking about the harmony now.
You did. Thank you. And there's one other singer on this album who also contributes 3 different songs, and that is Gregory Hoskins, coming to us, I believe, from Guelph, Ontario today. Yes, there he is in lovely Guelph. The 3 songs that Gregory has on Ain't Got Long, there's an amazing version of Paul Simon's Boy in the Bubble, as well as Jane Siberry's Calling All Angels, and a piece by Steve Earle, and I think her name is Lucia Micciarelli. It's called After Mardi Gras. Mm-hmm. Gregory, what strikes me about those songs is how you navigate through these arrangements. How would you describe that you find your way through these songs?
On a wing and a prayer.
Yeah.
Because I mostly feel lost, often when the kind of like right now in the conversation, for instance, like the theory of doing the song is one thing. The theory of stepping out onto a stage is one thing, and then actually like putting your foot in front of the other and then picking up the microphone and starting somewhere in between, leaving the side of the stage, or somewhere between the the digital tape or the buttons being pressed and the song starting and that red light going on. I feel very lost. And it might be that that's what actually makes it work, if it does work. I'm probably not the guy to say that it does. I'm actually not the guy to say that it does or it doesn't. But if it does, it's probably because I have a lot in common with the people who are listening, either in the audience or at home in their earphones, feeling a bit exposed. And especially in charts that John writes. I think to the question a little bit about describing John, he seems to have, his left brain is dominant, but his right brain screams, kind of wrestles it. And so you get this beautiful, weirdly agile musical thing with a lot of heart in it. So for a guy like me who's got absolutely no skill, I really aim for the other part, the right brain. So that's how I do it. And I have to tell you, it's mostly agonizing and terrifying when that thing comes on. The red light or the the finger that says, "Okay, go."
So is the overriding thought in your head is to try to follow the heart of the arrangement of the song, is just seek out the heart in the piece?
I think that I recognize that that might be impossible to do because it's so subjective. I think that I want to feel at the end of it that I've done whatever that I had. Well, I want to feel at the end of it that I didn't drown, maybe, or that I didn't stay lost, that somehow, I came out of the woods. And after we recorded Calling All Angels, I went on tour, and then I came back, a few months later, and I contacted John and I said, I want to do that vocal again. And I gave him, without allowing him the chance to speak, I gave him a million reasons why I wanted to do the vocal again. And then he says, I felt like it was tacked on, the experience. I just didn't remember it as being an elevated kind of an experience. And I loved the song, and I wanted it to be everything that it could be. So I said, yeah, I want to do it again. And he said, well, did you hear it? I said, no. And then he said, well, why don't you hear it first? So he sent me the track, and I have to say I was moved by it, So it's not like I know that these things work or that I've found the heart, as it were. I like that part, that it's a mystery. I like that. And I guess I also have to like the fact that some people will find it incredibly engaging and moving, and others might just take a hard pass. And I suppose that's the risk that we take, in doing this kind of stuff.
Mm. Andrew, can you tell me that during the time when you're working out these arrangements together with the singer and the ensemble, is there a lot of talk between you and the singer about how you're going to approach it and what's going to happen, or how does that work?
Well, I mean, it really is a three-way collaboration with the arranger. So I always make a point of keeping the singers in the loop, just to make sure, because really this is an unusual situation for all of these singers, right? I mean, in their world, they dictate, the interpretation of the song, and whatever arrangement is created either by them or by their collaborators, it serves that interpretation. It's built around that interpretation. Whereas in this context, they're asked to step into a completely other world and find their freedom within it, right? So because of that, I try to keep them in the loop, and with Jonathan, it's just a question of, I guess, trying to rein him in, which almost never works. And often, to my surprise, like when I first hear these arrangements, which he creates, he always makes mock-ups for the singers, because also most of pop singers that work with us, they don't read music. It's all ear. And so again, it just helps them. Well, all three of you, right? Yeah.
Wow.
And everyone else who's ever worked with us. So they need to hear it, or it helps them to hear it. And, sometimes I'll hear this mock-up for the first time, and I'll freak out. Like, how's anyone going to be able to be comfortable, within these parameters? But then it works. It magically works.
I think that's the word. It's magic. It's magic. We need to bring in one more person to this conversation today, and that is singer Jessica Mitchell. You cover Radiohead's Exit Music and River by Joni Mitchell, two unbelievable songs, and they are highlights of the album for sure. What do you want to share about what sums up sort of your experience with Art of Time, and what's that like?
I remember, my very first sort of engagement with the group. And I remember when Andrew sent me River for the first time, because I joined them with the Christmas shows mostly, and that was sort of my first tackling, so to speak, of these experiences. And you know, it's a strange thing when you come from writing, you know, pop or you know, singer-songwriter type of music, and you know, and these classic songs that you're interpreting behind these arrangements that are just like I just remember getting that for the first time and just being like, where do I sing? Where do I come in?
And where's the note?
Where do I come in? Like, what is happening? And you know, I can't put it necessarily as eloquently, I think, as Madeleine and Greg. I think just overall, in the beginning, it was definitely something to get used to. And I remember listening to the arrangement, and I had this sheet of paper, and I was like marking down kind of like audio cues for myself, because I don't read music, and I probably never will. I do everything by ear. It's a gift, so to speak, you know, being born and being able to do that. But and I was writing down audio cues, like the horn, it goes up here, or like the saxophone goes up here. So like, this is where I come in. And it was just very odd. It was a very strange experience. And stepping out on stage and singing River, particularly for the first time, I was breathless. Like, I didn't know, it's so long. It's like 10 minutes long. and there's so many beautiful things happening, you know, behind you in the band and stuff. And like, it's a transcendent experience when you don't come from that background, and you are sort of, I don't want to say forced into it in a bad way, but you're sort of like, I always called Andrew, when I would say to Andrew, I would say, kind of being thrown to the wolves, you know, yeah. Like, go ahead, bye. Like, you're on your own now, you know, you've listened to it enough. And now, like, it's so hard for me knowing that I won't get to sing that song live. Like, it's kind of like the highlight of the end of the year for me, you know, is getting to step out on stage and sing that particular song, River, you know, live, because it's just it's a journey for sure.
The whole album is a journey, like it for the listener, for me, and which is, I guess, partly why I'm such a fan of Art of Time, is because it really feels like I've been taken somewhere new, and with songs that I know so well and thought I knew until they were put through the magical process of Jonathan Goldsmith and Art of Time. There is another artist that is on the album that we're not speaking with today, and that's the final song on Ain't Got Long, and that's from long time Art of Time, the singer Sarah Slean, and she ends the album with Sad Songs by Lou Reed, which is an incredible way out of the album. So today is the day that it comes out, and we're hoping that you will go to the Art of Time website, artoftimeensemble.com, and find your way to buying an album. The one thing we haven't talked about are visuals for the album, and there are a couple of videos, and we're going to give you a sneak preview of one that comes out today. But at this moment, we'd like to know if there are any comments, any questions. I see that there is a question about collaborating during COVID. And I wonder, Andrew, if you would like to take that, about how does this magical collaboration that Art of Time does, how does that happen during COVID?
Well, I mean, it can't happen the way we'd like it to happen, you know?
Exactly.
We're treading water like everyone else, and developing work for the future, developing ideas. And in the meantime, I mean, we have such a rich archive of material from the last 12 years of shows, audio and video. that we've chosen 5 shows. So, I mean, usually we have a 5-show season. So we chose 5 shows and chose the highlights from those shows and kind of repackaged them into a digital program that involves commentary from the artists who were involved in those shows. So we just had our first one called The Poem, the Song, which was all about exploring where poetry collides with music. And our next one is our kind of different alternative holiday show, which will feature Jessica and Jackie Richardson, Tom Wilson, Liam Russell, and David Wall. And that's coming out, that'll be streaming December 17th to the 19th. And then there'll be 3 more in the new year. There'll be a Lou Reed tribute, Leonard Cohen tribute, and a program called What is Sacred that just explores sacred music from completely different worlds: gospel, contemporary classical, Steve Earle, and so on.
Well, that should tide us over. That plus this brand new album, Ain't Got Long, that should tide us over for a while. So we're going to leave you today. Thanks to everybody for showing up, and thanks to everybody behind the scenes at Art of Time. Thanks to Madeleine and Gregory and Jessica and Andrew and Stephen, who I imagine has been tearing his hair out at the other end, trying to break into this shindig. Thank you all for being here, and thank you not mostly, but the one person that really we've been talking about the whole time is Jonathan Goldsmith, whose arrangements are this album, Ain't Got Long. It's beautiful work, and congratulations to him as well. So we can all use more adventuresome music, especially during COVID when a lot of us aren't getting as much adventure as we'd like. So we're going to leave with a new video, just a trailer of it. There have been 2 videos so far. The first one that came out was one that Madeleine Peyroux did, and you can find that on the website or on YouTube. And the second one that's coming out today is Boy in the Bubble, Paul Simon's Boy in the Bubble with Gregory Hoskins. And both these videos have been directed by Bruce McDonald. And Gregory, do you have something that you'd like to add about the video in that process during COVID?
Yeah, well, actually, John reached out to me and he asked me if I wanted to do something like that, and he said, "Don't worry, it'll just be, we're just looking for 2 or 3 lines that we want to ground the visuals. There'll be other things going on. We just wanted a couple of lines from the singer, like I think he said 2 or 3, maybe 4." Not like 20 minutes of my face.
You're cover to cover, buddy.
So, but I really am. It's really something, but it's been interesting. People, I haven't watched, I haven't seen the Boy in the Bubble video, and I've only sort of skipped through Calling All Angels, but I've heard, I guess it says a lot of me, but I've heard that it's, that they're really beautiful, and I'm always honored. And Andrew, I'll always say yes. So if you want my head and chest for 20 minutes, it's cool, or any other part of me for like any kind of video thing.
Good to know. So,
I thought you said that's enough.
Just to add, so there are 3 videos actually, and Calling All Angels is the third, the first and the third.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
Wait, and Bruce McDonald. I mean, that's the other cool thing about the Art of Time experience. Madeleine, it's nice to meet you, by the way. Over the internet. Yeah. But it has brought me into the sphere of people that otherwise I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have been able to traipse through. I've met amazing. Laurie. I mean, I used to watch you on TV all the time. But that's incredible. And so working with Bruce McDonald was, it's not something I had on the list, but was really something, and Yeah, so I'm honored. I'm really honored to be a part. I'm sure.
Me
Madeleine,
too.
Jessica, and Stephen, and I'm honored to be always on the stage, with the rest of the musicians that aren't here in the room right now, but are so much. I mean, really are the recordings and the concerts that we do.
They live in our hearts.
No, they're. It's astounding to be in that kind of company.
Yeah.
Always.
Very much
Always.
so.
Yeah.
Well, thank you to you all, and congratulations on a wonderful album. Ain't Got Long is a tremendous accomplishment. Thank you to you all.
Thanks,
Thank
Laurie.
you.
So here is the trailer for the video Boy in the Bubble, directed by Bruce McDonald, released today. Art of Time with Gregory Hoskins, arrangement by Jonathan Goldsmith. We'll hang on in the comments section a little while longer if you've got some more questions. Thanks. Thanks for being here.
A slow day and the sun was beating on the soldiers by the side of the road. There was a bright light and the shattering of shop windows. The bomb in the baby carriage was wired to the radio.
And that was a trailer.
Great.
Talk about leaving them wanting more.
Yeah. Don't do that. Give them a little more.
I think we should have more of me adjusting my clothes.
It is so beautiful. That one is so beautiful. I had seen the other one of Greg's.
Calling All Angels.
I would love to see
Calling.
mine.
Bruce also shot he did the exit music, the Radiohead and the Joni Mitchell as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
is incredible.
I try not to chime in unless I'm asked questions, but the exit music. So Radiohead is like my favorite band on the planet. And hence the big giant poster on my wall. But, I sort of vicariously live through Tom York. I don't know why, but sometimes when I'm performing, especially that song, we only got to do it like once or twice, Andrew. I think, was it once? I think it was once live, right? That was it?
Yeah, it's the most recent arrangement.
Yeah. And I chose that. Luckily, I was asked to choose something, and I chose that because I knew Jonathan was just going to smash it. Like I knew he would. And so it was great when we went, to record or to do these videos. It was amazing because I felt like I was in a music video. Like I felt like it was like my song, and I was making this super artsy black and white weird like artsy thing where I wasn't even looking, at the camera at all. And it was a really cool moment for me because I was like, I'm Tom York from Radiohead right now. It was like it was the coolest experience. Like it was really great. And Bruce is just so artistically driven, and he's very good with like giving direction and stuff. I've made my own music videos for like, sad country music, but like, this was a really cool experience. Like it's a highlight for sure on my list, and I can't wait to see it. Andrew, can I see it?
When it's done. Well, Bruce got busy with his next film.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And so
priorities.
Even these three, took some coaxing.
Madeleine, how did you
fantastic.
I hate to ask this question, but Madeleine, like you shot your video essentially.
Oh yeah. Well, that's another testament to Bruce McDonald that you were talking about, because he's lucky I got anything usable. I used my phone.
It's like an iPhone commercial. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's great. I just wanted to say that. It's amazing.
Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, some of it was at night. I don't know where I got this crazy idea, and I hadn't been drinking, but I mean, it might have been like COVID high or something, because I have a great view from my roof of the New York City skyline, because I'm in Brooklyn and I'm at a high point in Brooklyn, so I can see New York. And I tried to catch the sunset, and I basically just got a really dark sky with some lights on the horizon. Some of those shots. Anyway, yeah, it was definitely kind of a crazy shoot, but I really appreciate you saying that, Jessica.
It's great.
Well,
we're going to say goodbye. We're going to say goodbye to the live broadcast. And these people want to talk, I can tell.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.